that, I guess.
Oh, there it goes. All right, now my mic's working.
Okay, great.
Welcome to round four of the LCC, watching R&B and Kawa. I am Wonderland, and I'm here with the.
Queen Yam Yabu, or also Lorcana Queen if you prefer.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm great. I think it would be an interesting match to watch because like blue gray and lemon lime, I would say that both decks are quite exotic now. Let's say so. They are kind of out of meta.
Yeah. Oh, the matches today were great. The the meta's shifting though. It's just all amethyst now. It's just all
Yeah.
amethyst.
Amethyst is just dominating the meta.
Oh, I thought I had this up, but I did not. We are here to watch. Oh, it didn't download. Well, we'll start off by looking at the deck list then.
All right.
What do you think of this discard list? It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's quite, yeah, as I've mentioned, it's quite exotic. And I actually played quite a lot against this deck, not with this deck, because my husband used to really like it. And I think the muses are very powerful. And like, I don't know about their power against blue grays though. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really good if your opponent is like not playing Pete's. Once the Pete's like start hitting, you just can't do anything, right? Everything you're trying to do revolves around playing discard actions. And if they chain a Pete 2 turns in a row on the critical turns that you have to play under the sea, or you have forgotten me, like you might just lose from that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you kind of need to discard your opponent before they can do anything. I would also say that, like, in theory, this deck is quite powerful, but you need the cards to come in the right order.
Oh yeah, but like it has some of the most powerful cards in the game in it, right? You can just start with an early Diablo, then you can play an Ursula 2 for disruption, and then either a Prince John or an Ariel, and then you can follow it up with an Under the Sea shortly afterwards to wipe up any aggressive start they might have, or you can just empty their song with Sudden Chills or You Have Forgotten Me. But if you don't draw these powerful cards in the right order, it can be quite devastating.
Yeah, I would say that he can kind of break.
Yeah.
So, and also I would say that RMBs, sorry, blue gray is something that is like pretty slow. Maybe I mean he doesn't run any Smees or any Calhouns. My
Yeah,
God, I
there's.
want to call her Calhoun again after my French stream.
Yeah, it's he doesn't have nearly as many aggressive early drops that Lamb has. Or just a different suit, right? Going for the gym package instead. And realistically, that could allow an early Whole New World singing. And if Kawa doesn't have the Ursula 2, it probably pushes the game heavily into uh, R&B's favor.
Yeah, I would say that the matchup is more probably for RMB here.
Yeah, I think it's heavily in R&B's favor if Kawa doesn't have the perfect answers and like
Hmm.
there's a stumble. There's probably going to be like a 1 or 2 turn period that R&B could top deck Flaversham or a Whole New World to win the game, right? And he doesn't need to top deck the Flaversham, right? Like if he gets that early and just is able to draw multiple times before his hand, like you just fight the discard, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
and he has 2 fire the cannons and 2 smashes, so he's probably going to be aggressively mulliganing to be able to answer the the Diablo
Yeah,
right away.
the start, yeah, the start of Kawa. But yeah, although he only runs two beats, so
Not very
it
many.
also depends. Yeah, it depends if he manages to find them. So yeah, I would say that both decks can break, and actually, probably that's why also they are not top tier decks in current meta set six.
Yeah, they're both they have some insanely powerful things they can do, but some of their matchups don't line up perfectly well. Uh RMB's list here, Sapphire Steel, traditionally has troubles with Ruby Sapphire, and we just
Yeah,
saw Ruby Sapphire dominate. Well, have a dominance of percentage of players in the EU Championship. It actually kind of performed quite poorly, but I think that had more to do with how many of them there were. So, like, all the decks that were bad against it probably lost very quickly, which then made the decks that were very good against it quickly go to the top of the food chain, um, which then kind of gives us like this world where uh, green, purple, and the ruby amethyst just thrive, right? There's half of the ruby amethyst players made day two, half the ruby amethyst players made top four. It's just very impressive.
yeah, and Ruby Amethyst, I think it's like still it has always been a good matchup for Ruby Amethyst. I mean, against Blue Steel, and it still is.
Well, it looks like we're going to be good to go here very shortly. Let me just fix our screen that apparently got broken, which sometimes happens when balancing. Well, see, that wasn't that hard to fix at all. Oh, I say, and then. That looks good. And they even lined up on the right side. We got lucky there.
Yeah, I'm also always happy when I don't need to fix this European and American icons.
Oh, did oh whoa, whoops. All right. See, maybe that's why it was not put in because I didn't have it popped out. I wonder if I can control. Perfect. See, I fixed it. We fixed everything on the fly. You would think I was good at doing this with the amount of times I've done it.
I'm wondering who won the die roll because I think that the last thing I saw was RMB making five, probably rolling five. But I don't even know if it was just for him or like was it the second roll for his opponent. We'll soon discover it anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting if like they had to reset the match because normally you just go by whatever the color around them is because it's set as Kawa's turn right now. So that would mean that he won the die roll, right? But in this way, it also is a little bit different because if they reconnected, then they probably just decided to roll dice.
Yep, that's true. So talking about their mulligans, so yep, we have lots of late game for for
Oh,
Kawa.
cannons.
By the way, yeah, you need to switch them. Now you need to switch them.
Wait, did I break it? How did that happen? Or I just never noticed it. I thought I had it. We'll fix it right now. Bloop. Oh, I
I think
was.
it's Kawa who is going first, I guess, because like he made his mulligan already,
That would make sense. There, now it
so he
looks
probably does it.
prettier.
So he kept Sir his bare necessities and sudden shield. So yeah, I guess his plan for this game is to discard. They
The bare
as much as
necessities is good.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just needs to guarantee to have a way out to a whole new world. He gets to start with the Ursula and then sing the bare necessity if he needs to, or if he's lucky and hits the Diablo, he gets to sing it off of that and then decide whether or not to play the Ursula. Because if there's not a song that he wants to hit with the Ursula, he might not play it yet and wait. After.
I was wrong, by the way. It's RMB who is on the play here. So yeah,
I'm interested in whether or not RMB is going to pull the trigger on the cannon or if he's just going to develop the broom. Um, I kind of think he'll go for the broom, but it is rough on his ink. Well, I mean, that is a solid card to ink here.
probably the broom, I would say, because I don't really know if you want to kill just this small Diablo.
Yeah, and
He's
now
just
with.
not dangerous enough, and you want to keep your fire the cannons for like for the big Diablo, or maybe for like some other more important cards.
Yeah, and it seems that RMB agrees with that, which makes sense. It's just sometimes you have to count your ink up in advance, but with the Flaversham and the Fortisphere, he's probably infinite cards. As long as he has 4 ink for that Flaversham on turn 4, he should be fine.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So that's Ursula, and Ursula will not be
Whiffs.
discarding anything because actually there are no songs. So I am actually surprised by this choice. Maybe he wanted to discard a top deck song or something like this, but I would probably play Serrrra instead if I wanted to body,
He
just to
has.
body on the board, because Ursula is like, I don't know really why.
Well, he has 9 songs. But he did look to know that.
Yeah,
So it could just be that yes, he needs tempo. He like the matchup could just be so bad that he needs to be as aggressive as he can. Um that said, it could just be that he has nothing else really to do rather than that, then and it's just worth it. Like the Sir Hiss isn't very good, although it does take out the broom.
yeah, yeah. Like, I don't know why you play. Well, why would you play Ursula against Serhis? But maybe there is an explanation. Like, maybe he wants actually to keep the board. Maybe he doesn't want to kill the broom. Okay, so yeah, she sings Sudden Chill, and he has the second Sudden Chill. So he's hard costing the second one, and actually,
There goes the
like,
Flaversham.
out of the like
It's
suddenly it becomes quite difficult for R&B here because he has no cards left. And yeah.
activating the uh, Fishbone Quill might have just been too much of a mistake. Knowing that the possibility, like going down to only 2 cards left in hand, is like a dangerous game. Oh, oh, that's a disheartening draw. He needed to draw that next turn, not
Yeah,
this
yeah,
turn.
I think it really hurts. Yeah, I think it really hurts. And yeah, as we like think that probably he has again one more sudden chill or bare necessities, as he actually does. RMB had to ink this whole new world. Yeah, yeah. I guess it did hurt.
Yeah, and you can't just hold on to it. Like the game's still so early that you need it in your ink to draw to play any of the cards you top deck. Like a swords is actually fairly good against Kawa's deck. I mean, sure he has some 2/4s and whatnot, but he has Diablos and Prince Johns, and swords is the only really way he can deal with. Oh my! For a second, I thought he was drawing all 4 of those,
Okay,
but
no,
it's
no,
just
no,
like
no, no,
you
no
could see
songs.
him say
Actually, it's like
something. I went,
bad luck here. No songs for Ariel. Yeah. But I think not only it is about ink for R&B, but also like the possibility of his whole new world being discarded by another Ursula or by another Sudden Chill, by another Bare
Yep.
Necessities. Well, the first
And
Bare Necessities.
imagine if he had like played Prince John and then like had another like sudden chill, and you just feed it, right? It's just too scary to do.
That's what I call breaking. Like R&B here, like since he lost his Flaversham, it's really like he needs to top deck another draw engine, and we don't know if he will.
So this is an interesting turn. I think he's just gonna wait. Oh, he's gonna pull for it. As like he can play this on the broom, which gets rid of it, and then bounce the aerial to
Yeah.
redo it. Then you have to like be a. It's like you play afraid of the other things. It's like what's more likely that RMB is gonna draw a removal for aerial, or RMB is gonna draw a whole new world. And I think since I guess we don't know we've seen. He hasn't seen one, so it's kind of.
I guess the key decision in like Fukawa was just bouncing his aerial back because you really want to find more cards.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, do you wait a turn or not? And I think you don't. I think he did the right thing. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a four of versus a five of probably.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with his move.
Let's see if he's lucky enough to whiff twice, or I should say, are us North American fans lucky enough? Nope, we are not. Even though it's not a fantastic hit, but he does just get to sing it and bounce the aerial right back and replay it because he is not inked yet, and so he can easily ink this very unneeded Diablo.
I don't know exactly if he wants to bounce Ariel back right now. I think maybe next turn here.
I think it's highly unlikely
Mm,
RMB is gonna just have a card left in hand. So he's just like taking advantage of it because it should just grab a new card, and there's a world that it just grab. Well, it's unlikely to grab another Sudden Chill, but it's
all right.
definitely just cycle through aerials over and over again.
Yeah, that's true, but here I don't know. Yeah, but it's true that you don't really need sudden chill because your opponent is not going to keep his cards in his hand.
Just realized I did not update the name of the stream.
Happens.
We're playing. We're on top of our game today.
Yeah, so Kawa inks Ursula, and I don't know. I guess probably he just gonna quest with everything, or yeah, that's what he
It's
does, and then he hard casts again. I guess just to
yeah.
draw and to bounce back his aerial. So he just has two ink left, right?
Yeah, I
No?
think it's muses here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I know he used two and yeah, he kept four. Yeah, it's muses here. Oh my god, that speed, but it's just so useless here. Like we don't really care.
Yeah, it's not. It does make Kawa stop questing for a turn, and does stop the very irritating aerial bounce train for a turn. Um,
I think
but
I think how we can still quest. I mean, like Pete doesn't even kill the muses, so I think he can just quest.
I actually think he takes the "You're welcome" here, and then targets his Ursula with it off of a sing to just draw like two or three cards.
Yeah, he quests and he talk. We don't talk about Bruno.
But he's just with R&B with 8 ink, he's just making sure that he has answers to R&B somehow going like Tamatoa Tamatoa.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty much this because at the moment he's quite in the good position, and I guess he just wants to keep the things going that way, and that's all. I mean, he really depends on what R&B can top deck, and yeah, as you said, if it's a Tamator, it will be good to eliminate Tamator like immediately.
Chat's roasting the fact that the name bars were on the wrong side, so they're just like it's the reverse of the bald picks. It's like they gave R&B hair because Kawa's head was on the R&B side.
Mm, all right.
I don't know if chat hasn't seen it yet, they should ask R&B for pictures of what he looked like when he was in the military if you want to see him with some hair. I mean, he's a pretty boy, pretty man. Gorgeous hair. All right, what do we got here?
Well, we got Kawa questing, I guess, because I don't think that
Oh,
he can do anything else. Yeah, yeah, he's just.
it was because he accidentally hit the lore reset. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
it,
guess that was this.
they did recently change the hotkey for what resets those, so it's very possible that that wasn't like accidentally clicked and he didn't realize it.
Yeah. So a lucky dime that actually does nothing here, but like completely nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't have like his best hits. He doesn't have enough ink to then use them. He drew 4 out of 5 cards, absolutely, basically worthless in a row. I mean, it did give him ink, and he needs ink, right? So, like, how good is a Tamatoa when you have 5 ink?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, but you can actually like he can ink any card that he has that he tops. So, I mean, Temator is quite useless when you have like less than 8 ink, but 8 ink, having 8 ink is also quite useless if you don't have Temator, if you don't have any like powerful cards. So, for now, RMB is just breaking, and like Kawa is just slowly questing.
Slow and steady.
Yeah, that's it. It's like slow and steady because the situation on the board is still very advantageous for Kawa. Uh, there are not any threats on RMB's boards, and RMB cannot like quickly gain any lore with his time. And even if he top decks the Tamatoa right now, he will play it and he will lose it immediately to Bruno.
Yeah, it's. The game's basically over. He's developed the Dextron. Like he's got each piece of the puzzle, his Exodia, whatever cartoon or card game you want to reference. He's Voltroned it, right? He's got the Muse on one of his arms is a Muse, one of his arms is an Ariel. Uh, Prince John's one of his legs, and then his songs are the swords he's using to fight all of the giant monsters, right? Like he's got all the plot armor, and he's going to be winning in a very flavorful, sing-songy manner.
I guess RMB lost the game when he inked this turn 3 with Fishbone Call.
Yeah. Although He did it so he could play the cannon as well, right? He fishboned and then got another ink so he could cannon. So he went from 4 cards the to not enough. But like he could have waited one turn and then because he could have went from 3 to 5 and still been able to play the Flaversham and the cannons. And if worst case scenario, he has to discard 2 cards and he doesn't draw an inkable, like no matter what he draws, he can ink that card with the Fishbone Quill, and then immediately play Flaversham and hope that you draw an uninkable. But then that plays into if they have a Diablo, so you have to draw an inkable off the top if they have the
Yeah, exactly,
So you kind of
exactly.
just
But
get
like in my opinion, actually, these like fire the cannons was not completely necessary. Like Kawa's deck is not an aggro deck, so you can definitely
well.
wait. It's not like his Diablo or Ursula or stuff like this or Serrrra. They are not so menacing. You can just like ignore them, and then you develop your board. I think maybe sometimes players forget that Lemon Lime is like kind of a discard deck,
I'm
and I would
assuming
say like at first it is a discard deck.
so. It's an interesting line. So if he does get hit by a discard 2 and Kawa has the Diablo shift, he's then not able to play the Fire the Cannons and the Flaversham. But that's like pretty unlikely for him to have all of it. So there isn't like he didn't already shift to Diablo, but he could have been waiting, right? Like he could have been trying to do it in a manner to force RMB to choose answer Diablo or answer this, but he already knows that he has it, right? He knows that the Fire the Cannons is there. So we can say it was like the wrong play only because we knew what happened. Whereas in like there could have been a world that he didn't ink and Kawa just like has a shift Diablo and plays a Diablo and then or shifts Diablo on top of playing the double discard and then his hand is just Flaversham cannons and he has 3 ink and then he can't cannons and then also play Flaversham. Like he can't play the Flaversham and answer Diablo. He has to answer Diablo and then pass the turn, and then maybe get hit by another discard. So there is a crazy world that like RMB took the play that did actually have a higher outcome and a more likely chance. So I'm probably just going to say that he took the right play because I don't play enough Sapphire Steel to really know, because there's like so many different cards you have to play around there to know which you should do. I'm just a little sketch of going down to 2 cards.
I see what you mean, but actually, it's not like I am not a blue steel player, right? But I did play a lot of red blue,
Mm,
and like it's
pretty
pretty
close.
much the same against discard. I mean, it's a different deck. It's a very different deck, and I really suck with blue steel. I'm very bad with blue steel. But talking about this particular line of play, I would say that I have already had this situation against a discard deck, and as a one it was like this Bucky duck. That's out now. But still, like I know that normally you want to keep your cards. If you have Fluttershy, you definitely don't want to lose it. Like, so yeah, I see your point that he definitely wanted to probably like
So,
eliminate the big Diablo, but I would have kept the card.
so one thing Zan noticed, going into Vegas, his testing, anyways, is that the Ruby Sapphire players, they had 2 lines of play against discard. And that was you get Fishbone Quill and you ink everything, and you don't care about your hand size because you don't have a Flaversham. So you're just like, I want to be able to top deck my bombs and play them. And then the other game plan is like turn 3 Flaversham, and then you draw 2 off Flaversham for like 3 turns in a row, and that should be enough card draw. But he discovered that the first game plan actually was not a good one and would normally cause them to lose the game because they do play a lot of uninkables, and you basically kind of put them on only having like 4 or 5 ink. They quill, they go down early, and then you hit them with like a double sing or like a hypnotize and a sudden chill. All of a sudden, they're out of cards, And if you have a Prince John, now you're drawing like all of the cards. And that can be like a pretty big issue. And so it's possible that that mentality is still there, where it's just like you can't really rely on hoping that Fishbone Quill gets you enough. It might just be a liability. Where like it's possible what RMB needed to do was just ink the Fishbone Quill and play the cannons from his hand. Like that way he's guaranteed to answer the Diablo and guaranteed to play Flaversham the next turn, and just has to hope he draws more items.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I agree because actually, if you just play Fishbone Quill as a Sapphire player, the problem that like talking about Ruby Sapphire, you have some like so-called bad cards. They're not bad, but they are very bad when you top deck them. For example, Ice Blocks or like in the past, One Jump Ahead, and when you just top deck this, you just break. And so that's why I would say that Fishbone Quill is like not the best line against discard decks.
Well, Kawa did not have the shift for the Diablo this time. He does have an Ariel and then the Muse and a Prince John. Has like a decent enough get go. RMB has all the ramp in the world and no payoffs. Really needs to top deck Flaversham off the top. Like a Hiram would be so good. And
Yeah,
we're
Hiram
losing
would
the
be very
sale.
useful here.
I assume sale. Like I don't think. I guess we might take Smash because of Ariel. He doesn't really have the singers. What would you take?
I would remove the sale, I guess, because you don't want your opponent to draw. You don't want to give him an extra chance to draw Hiram. So yeah, I would remove the sale.
Yeah, that seems a reasonable.
And yeah, probably then you can just discard. Well, it really depends. Of course, if they like, if R&B plays speed, you cannot discard next turn. Okay, so the smash goes into the ink anyway, and here comes the big Tinkerbell. I love this card. I'm not sure she's the best one in this particular situation, but overall,
I mean, he as long as Ariel doesn't hit a Bruno, like it does kind of stop everything Ka was doing. Like top decking discard here is not great. See, this is like the first game plan we talked about earlier. How like Zan was that I said that Zan was talking about. Um, and it's looks like it's going to be okay-ish for RMB here. Kawa's not on like steel like Zan was, right? So like if Kawa actually had removal answers, it might not be a threat, and that's actually kind of scary. He can't answer that very easily. He has to throw multiple characters into it, and if he does that, he get RMB just gets to crack right back and take the ones that don't get banished right down, right? Oh, never mind.
hmm,
That
okay.
changes.
But
Cove
there is a
changes the
hidden
map.
code. Yeah, yeah, you can trade more easily. Yeah. Yeah, it also depends on R&B's top decks because again, he just has top decks.
Much better this game than last game. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it was.
Definitely, yeah. But still, like, for example, if he top decks Tematours, like saying six ink is not enough, so he will have to ink his Tematour. Yeah, it really depends. He has good top decks, like awesome top decks, and very bad top decks. For example, another Fishbone Quill is just like so bad.
But that cove was not bad at all.
Yeah, the cove was like very useful indeed. Yeah, I'm checking how many coves he plays. Just two actually.
Yep, we can. For those who missed the other part, we'll bring it down here. Before we go, really low lore count.
So yeah, Kawa kind of got lucky here. Yeah, and it's Tamator, just as I mentioned, and he is not able to play his Tamator, and he will probably ink him because he can be discarded at any moment. I don't know if he keeps his Tamator. The problem that if he keeps it, even like the next turn, he still will not be able to play. Yeah, he inks his Tamator, but yeah, there is this aerial.
Oh, interesting. I guess in game one of the cards he inked that I didn't think about was a Pete, so he could have technically played the Pete to guarantee that Flaversham comes out the next turn because all of the ways that it wouldn't would be stopped. See, it this is why Blue Steel is such a crazy deck. Is that there's just so many. Sorry, I had to know when to time the ads perfectly, and I thought it was muted. It's like to perfectly play the sequences. It's just like each card is playable. You don't have cards that are only resources. Like you have multiple sequencing. Like you could take those same three cards, and depending on the order you play them, they'd have like drastically different impacts and different targets. And it's so easy to look at something and be like, "Oh, this is good. I'm gonna do it," but there could be a better play, right?
Yeah, like for me, Blue Steel is like the hardest deck in Lorcana. I never managed to play it well myself.
So, one of the most difficult things in Lorcana to do is to properly ink. So, if you take a card like Fishbone Quill, and then you have even more cards you could ink, it's even high, like an even higher chance, more likely to ink the wrong card again.
Yeah, I agree with you. And yeah, when you play Ruby Sapphire, you also have this problem.
Yep,
Exactly. But the point is that Ruby Sapphire has some powerful cards that are like ultimately powerful. For example, the Big Sisu or the Big Preps.
dime.
And yep.
Oh, nope, it wasn't. I was just sorry to interrupt. I was just
Mhm.
like trying to predict the top deck dime when
Yeah.
it's good. But this is an interesting play because Kawa can take down the aerial
Hmm.
and can even play the muses, hardcast Huffalumps, and then return the aerial back to hand to protect it from removal or anything. And did okay, so we're doing
Okay,
that for
so yeah.
Tamatoa, and then we inked the broom for Tamatoa. I think these are the only reason I could see doing that.
No, but I guess this Fortisphere gives the protection for Ariel, doesn't it?
It gives her bodyguard. Um,
Ah, it's just bodyguard. Oh,
so I'm
okay.
pretty
So
sure it was
yeah, so
just
I don't know.
strictly done in case he top decks a Tamatoa.
Yeah, probably it's just this.
But I don't even know if that's necessarily good enough. The Ariel that gained 10 lore. Like, RMB has some crazy outs, but he has about 3 or 4 turns to draw them or he's going to lose. That is a
Okay,
good
so
one.
here comes Laversham. Yeah, Hiram is here. Yeah, it can kind of change the game. Well, it depends on top decks, I guess. So we
Ooh,
have Temator and what else? Jim? I
Jim.
guess it was Jim.
So I think you just have to pass here and hope that You Have Forgotten Me is not the last card in hand. Since Kawa just inked one, it's
Yeah,
a low
he has just
chance.
inked it, so and yeah. Although he plays four of them.
He might even know about heffalumps and weasels. I think it was shown from the aerial, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I guess it was indeed.
Oh, so Ariel is singing heffalumps and then bouncing. itself and drawing a card, and then you replay it and you hope for to top deck
Yeah,
something. I mean, I guess you
you
get a
have forgotten
Heffalumps.
me
The
probably.
sorry, what was that?
I mean, I think you want to. I know you cannot. Yeah. Yes, you maybe can if you just want draw one.
I mean, you're definitely hitting the Flaversham. I just assumed we're bouncing the aerial, so I'd think we would sing with it. But
Hmm.
maybe he's doing it in case he drew a Bruno. It's just like he can't. He probably was tanking on whether or not he hard casts the Heffalumps, chose not to, and then draws the answer to the Flaversham that he cannot ink the Prince John to play. So Flaversham, I mean, still isn't drawing for a turn. Could challenge, so we can't quest with Ariel. I'm really surprised why he did not bounce the aerial to his hand with the Heffalumps. That had to have been a mistake.
Yeah, I agree. I can't say that I understand it either.
And he sadly played the Prince John to like miss his chance to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, why?
But I've been there. It's like countless times. It's so easy to just make a quick mistake like that, and just get severely punished. It's really frustrating. Um, it just happens to the best of us sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And yeah, like both decks, I mean, I think if you just make one mistake, you can be
You can
immediately
just
punished for
lose.
this.
Yeah.
Like both decks just do not pardon. And yeah, it's also always easier to comment, to cast, or to spectate than to play,
Oh yeah.
especially considering the fact that you see both hands.
Yeah. Like even if you try not to have any bias, like you still know what they have, so it's going to influence your thought. Where we have count like just with the Moyen and uh was it Earl Zach Moyen and Zach matchup this morning. Um, it was hard to necessarily like. It was easy to be like Moyen, what are you doing? Like, I don't like this play. Obviously, he doesn't have the Cinderella or Daisy. Why don't you play Maleficent and get like 4 lore? Whereas in like, yeah, if Zach had the Daisy, Maleficent's not a very good turn 1 play. It's just 2 lore, and that's it. Um,
Actually, here I kind of disagree with you because, like, it's not even the play that I didn't like about Maleficent, but it was the whole like line of the game. I have a feeling that actually the deck belongs to Specie, and Specie is more of an aggro player probably, while Moen seems to be more of a control player. And I have the feeling that he was trying to play his
he,
like aggro deck
yeah,
in a mid-range way, and that's what I didn't like, not even some particular plays, but in general the whole line that
he
he took.
definitely seemed to have been taking all of the conservative plays. Like when he had options, he tended to lean towards the more conservative options. And in the interview afterwards, he gave his reasonings for all of them, and like they were all fair. And like we had even chatted where it's like, yeah, he didn't do the play you liked, he gets punished. The play you think of would have been perfect in the scenario, but had his opponent played what he was playing around, it makes him look super smart, right? Because it's like, of course he played around it. He's so brilliant, like, and it just happens to be that way when you get to see both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, I see your point. Just in my opinion, if you have an aggro deck and you're playing against a
Yeah,
mid-range deck, you cannot play mid-range because they will be better in this than you are.
yeah, it's an interesting thing too, because it's like if you go hyper aggro, it makes their whole new worlds a little worse because they don't want to refill your hand. And if you go mid rangey too early, they punish you for the extra card draw. But if you go hyper aggressive and they don't have the whole new world, or they like yeah they just hit storms off of all their aerials and they 2-for-1 you or they Rapunzel you, you get super punished for going overly aggressive. And like it's a toss up. It's a hard dance to do, and that's one of the reasons why Amber Steel is one of the better decks in the format. The only deck that can like kind of always commit to a single game plan and not get punished is Ruby Sapphire, right? Like, and that's if they have the Fishbone Quills.
Yeah, probably. Even with Ruby Sapphire, sometimes you have like you can probably try to go aggressive at some point of the game with your dime if you have one.
Kawa just turning sideways and trying to do something, but this game looks pretty locked up for RMB.
Yeah.
They're yeah, and the I guess that had 2 damage on it. I couldn't see the dice because, and then the cannon takes out the Diablo. I don't know what Kawa could draw. Probably a Bruno.
Bruna, and High Roll.
Yeah, he's got 7 ink, so he can't play 2 Bruno. All right, so you Bruno the Tamatoa,
Tomato,
and then
yeah.
you Heffalumps the Tinkerbell, but I think he only has one Heffalumps. And let's look here. Only one Heffalumps, and they're packing it up. That's it.
Yeah, he didn't have enough ink to play Bruno, so
Oh, I just realized I did not update the game total before, so we can update it now. We're going to game 3. All right, let's start another one of these timers and see if I can keep my eye on it so it's not really loud and annoying, but still lets me know when to try to get ads done so we don't miss any action.
the game went really fast, in my opinion. Like, mm, sometimes, especially when you have like two Amethyst players playing one against another, it can last for like so long.
Oh yeah.
Here, I can't say that I perfectly know this, like that I know this matchup perfectly. It's not the
Yeah.
case, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because one player can just break, and if it happens, so it ends quite soon. Because these are two decks, more like control decks, both I would say so. Well, blue steel is not control, and lemon lime is like discard also. It's like
Yeah.
control discard plus control combo. I say so.
Yeah, it's like Sapphire Steel is kind of like mid-range control. Yeah, as you're saying, it's just like removal and then card advantage with some ramp. And then Kawa is like mid-range anti-control. Basically because the discard, it's there for the control decks, and then one or two like catch up mechanics like the Under the Sea. Um, it's a little
I would say
different.
I would say lemon lime. It's a control discard deck, really,
Yeah,
because that's what you do. You just control the board. You have this like complicated version of Be Prepared. So you play Under the Sea plus Kita, and yeah, and you discard.
oh, cannon's there, so RMB does not want to get hit by an early Diablo. I'm assuming he's like, I'm not keeping this Fishbone Quill. I learned my lesson. I assume he's keeping Cog for ink. Cogsworth doesn't seem very good against Under the Sea. Good against all the removal, bad against Under the Sea.
I mean, yes, but to play Under the Sea, you need to have some board already and Under the Sea. And sometimes it doesn't happen very early in the game. I don't actually know if Kawa wants to play
Oh,
an early Diablo here at all because it will be removed so easily.
this does not look good for NA.
No, it does not. Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
guess.
With the Cove, it looks much better. I mean, the early Diablo.
I mean, I guess he has Smash,
Yeah, he
so maybe
does.
he does. Hmm. I wonder if he's going to play the Fire the Cannons on the one drop because he still has the broom, and for Kawa already inked one baby Diablo, so it's like unlikely that he has more, and he kind of has answers to the other ones. So like, it's a hard thing to say. Like whenever I do go after the baby Diablo with the cannons, sometimes I like regret it, and then other times when I don't go after it, I regret it. All right, RMB's like, no, I'm not gonna let you do it to me. Zero cards off of uh, each
I
Diablo.
think it was the right play. I think you needed to kill this baby Diablo. Yeah, because you really didn't want to have the big one immediately. Yeah, plus the possibility of
The
Cove.
the funny thing is, while it might have been the right play to prevent the Diablo, uh, now Kawa's not going to discard the You Have Forgotten Me, and playing the You Have Forgotten Me might just be devastating. Like,
Mm,
RMB doesn't have Flaversham. He doesn't have a whole new world. He just has a
mm,
couple Fortis Spheres and Prayers.
not yet, but maybe he'll just top deck them.
True.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would have maybe even played two
Oh,
Fortispheres here.
chat is smarter than us. 10
Mm.
minutes ago, we were like, why didn't he bounce the Ariel? Because Ariel was at Cove, so it couldn't have been bounced
Ah,
by the Muses.
okay.
We were just talking about other things, all silly like, and not realizing the obvious reason that you just can't do things like that. That would be cheating.
Yeah, that's true. But really, I did play a lot against this deck, but I barely ever played this deck. I mean, Lemon Lime. So yeah, here comes the big Diablo.
I wonder.
Even though he knows that his opponent has Smash, yeah, so RMB top deck to the whole new world.
Will he be greedy with the Fishbone Quill? Will he? I mean, he could just play a Pete this time, or he could ink it. Maybe he just smashes. It's tough to say. The Fortisphere is looking less good when you have the whole new world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Diablo's scary when you have the whole new world. He's not gonna play Pete. Apparently, he's definitely inking the Pete. Oh,
I think he's hesitating because still like Pete is a good card in this matchup, and he only has two, from what I remember.
oh,
Yeah.
challenging the snake. Well,
You have forgotten me is not so strong here because RMB has full cards, so he'll just get rid of those.
but only three ink. So
Yeah, only
it's
three ink. That's true. That in terms of ink, yeah.
so he doesn't have an item yet. So there's a world you just play the Diablo and be like, "Do you have the third removal? If you don't, I'm locking out your Flaversham for a turn." Um. Oh, okay. We're going for ink,
He's actually playing Ariel. Yeah.
which is another reasonable play. And he gets it. Like he, unlikely he really ever wants to play that on his opponent unless he's like so far ahead. So he's not going to want it anytime soon.
No, I guess probably he was searching for bare necessities or like a sudden chill at least.
Yeah, I think it
Oh,
was a good draw for
Flaversham is
RMB.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was just going to try to hit anything to let him maintain ink velocity.
Double Flaversham. Things are starting to look good for
Well,
R&B here.
so if he goes Flaversh, if he inks this Cogsworth, plays Fishbone, and then inks the whole new world, he just could get knocked right out by this. You have forgotten me.
Yep.
Is he going to play into basically the same thing happen in game 3 that happened in game 1? Or is he going to be scared of that? Like, he has to do the odds, but I hope he just passes. But I say that, and then Kawa top decks like sudden chill, right? Uh, three cards is not safe. 4 cards might not even be safe. Um, I would like,
Yeah, I think he's hesitating a lot because
yep, yep. He's like, you know what? 4 might be safe. We just need to make sure this Flaversham gets into play. That's the important thing. And the question is do you probably discard one of the Flavershams? You discard Flaversham and Whole New World, and then leave an item to draw more because it might be hard for him to answer the one in play already. But if Kawa commits a Diablo here, then Under the Sea answers it, and then you might get punished for that. But you have to like even here, it's like I don't necessarily know what's right to discard. I think there could be arguments for discarding everything except for double Flaversham, which I would say is probably wrong. But maybe someone would be like, no, you need to ink that fishbone quill. I missed it. I missed it. It'd be like, ink that fishbone quill and go for the ink, right? Like, or go for the whole new world.
yeah, I think I would probably discard one Flaversham and maybe the Quill, or maybe even the whole new world because it can be discarded via bare necessities and Flavershams are safe.
You know, my first
They
thought
are
would
out of
be,
this bare necessities
oh,
range.
my first thought would be discard Flaversham and Whole New World just to keep another item. But after drawing that, oh, I mean, we get to answer the Diablo now too. This is looking not bad for RMB.
Yeah, I
Like,
guess. Yeah, now the
and we,
situation has changed. At the
and
very beginning of the game, yeah, it was thought that it was more advantages for Kawa, but I don't know. In my opinion, actually, early Diablo is not that good against this steel because this steel has like way too many ways to kill Diablo.
yeah, he did. RMB did just have all of the early game answered. He drew both of his. I mean, this is like what turn 6, but he did hit both of his cannons. He also had one of his smashes, so he was like good to go on early characters. But I mean, he aggressively kind of mulligan for them, so it makes sense. Anikawa's just setting up here, but is not going to be happy with RMB just playing the Fortisphere, questing, and then hard casting a whole new world to just take out the Prince John, which I think
The
is.
grab your sword, you mean? Yeah.
Oh, did I say whole new world? Yes, yes. The grab yours not play. Definitely don't play the whole new world, please.
No,
Please, RMB, don't do that. Don't listen to me.
no, I guess it will be the grab your sword here. Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I
oh,
guess.
he's just scooping him up.
Kawaii just abandons here. Yeah.
He's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth
Yeah,
it.
I think there was no way for him to win the game after the grab was casted.
Yep, that makes sense. All
Okay,
right.
so congratulations on this blue steel
Do-do-do.
victory. Even though, as a European player, I can't say that I'm very happy with this outcome as I was for Kawa.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I am happy with this. This is what we wanted.
Do you know the total score? Like for now, what do we have for this round?
I think it's impossible for uh, NA to tie now. I think EU has won 3 of them this thing. Or wait, no. Did
Because
we
there were
tie it?
some
Did we
matches.
tie it? Because
I have a
I'm pretty
feeling
sure
that
Zan won, right?
I'm not sure that Zan won actually. I mean,
Oh wait, no. I'm looking at the.
maybe not.
I'm looking backwards. I'm looking at pink being good instead of bad, or bad instead of good. So no, we've lost. We went 4-4.
Yeah,
We
I
as in
think it
NA.
is.
So that means that rounds 2, 3, and 4 was a split, but round 1 EU had almost a sweep. They went 6-2. So that would basically put us having uh, EU being the winners of the Swiss. All right.
Okay, all right. That's okay with me.
Hello. All right.
Hello.
I'm gonna mute you here, but if we can hear you through Discord,
You guys hear me?
Yep,
if you wanna
definitely.
mute
I
and
can hear you.
unmute.
I think they're on mute.
Well, you did a good job of tying it up 4-4 this week, but sadly we did need NA to go 6-2, so it does look like EU today has solidified in the first round the winning the Swiss portion of the EU versus NA Lorcana Cross Continental Challenge. Whether or not they
Yeah, I think
win the 2v2.
Who
Hmm.
do we know?
Really, really well.
Do we know who's qualified for the 2v2 now? It's Artabax and Frank, I think, for you. Or do we know the
Um,
final standings yet?
I do not know actually. I think because you. Oh, wait, what did I think it might be down to tiebreakers because it was going to be that down to tiebreakers with you and Frank and Moyen, right? Wasn't there like the
Oh no,
possibility of four, or are you 2-2?
no, I'm like 1-3 now.
Oh, one and
I've
three
only
now.
got one win.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it might just
Don't give me
be.
hope.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
No
Kawa.
worries. No worries. No worries.
So I think
Yeah.
Artabax is the only guaranteed NA, and then it's up to tiebreakers between Moyen and Frank. And Moyen seemed kind of not liking his numbers.
Yeah, I think it's Frank. Moyen was messaging me earlier. I think he hasn't made it in, so it's probably Artabax and Frank, which I think throughout the entire event, I think they both played phenomenally. I think Moyen played really well too, but I think, in my opinion, for most of the event, yeah, I think to represent EU, Artabax and Frank definitely earned it through their games because they were like none of these games were easy at all. But yeah, I mean, from the start when it was Artabax versus Zan and how close that first game was, like I knew it was going to be a good run for him. So yeah.
Um, Before we dive more into this, wanting to
Hmm.
mention some things about the game. Uh,
Hmm.
Ryan, RMB, did you feel like you didn't? Do you still like your plays in game one, or do you think you would have inked a little differently to play around the multi discard? Because I saw you play
I should
around it
have.
in game three.
Yeah. I should have developed the fishbone quill there, but not inked with it, giving myself like the only punish there was double sudden chill, and like I had I had the opportunity to play around it, and I just didn't.
Yep. Um,
Which like you recognize that like in game three, I noticed that the play pattern was like too much is on the line to like give my
oh,
opponent the out.
you were one fishbone quill activation from losing that third game when he had because
Oh, I know.
he had the forgotten me just chilling. Um, and chat also had some thoughts about the game one because you had multiple options. You could have played the fishbone quill and done nothing. You could have done what you did, play the quill and play the cannons. Someone in chat was like, you could have just played Pete to completely shut off all discard except for Ursula for a turn to 1,000% guarantee that it gets there. But I don't know if a Pete or a Quill would have been better. I kind of like the Quill more because you want more items in play for your quest on your Flaversham, and then if you're going off on it, you need ink. But you had so many options.
Yeah, it just
there.
wasn't. I just wasn't respecting the double discard. Is what it boiled down to. Like it happens. It's been a while since I've played against Amber Emeralds. Like the last time I played against Amber Emerald was in Vegas, and I swiftly got O2'd. That was my only O2 loss in Vegas was to Amber Emerald.
You gotta learn the respect in these matchups, and that kind of just happens from being punished. Honestly, I mean, I don't know how many times when playing a matchup or testing a matchup for the first time, I'm like, I don't know which play is necessarily right. This one feels right. I think I would do this in the event. I'm gonna do this other one because I have no idea how it'll turn out, and I want to see what it will happen. And scenarios like that, or just like, oh, this play seems great. How is it bad? Well, Kawa showed you how it's bad, right? Like, you're not
Yeah,
gonna forget
exactly.
that.
If I didn't make that mistake in game one, my play patterns in game three would have been different.
Yeah.
And like it could have been the difference between me like winning and losing.
Very much so. Let's see. Let's go back to the discussions. So not only do we have the top 4 playoffs, but we're also going to be doing the backup duel. Or what are, I don't know what we're calling it necessarily. But basically what are they called? Fillers? The
Reserves,
bench?
right?
The reserves. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Team NA has quite the reserve list. We've got Ed, Aaron, and oh, my brain just turned off. Another like amazing player. How can I forget this?
Is it level 9001?
Yeah, Diego. Yeah, it's Diego.
That's Diego Saz.
Just you know,
Well,
two
in
casual
Europe
DLC winners.
we have Reese.
You have who?
We have Reese. I mean, his nickname, I guess, is Kyoshi. So maybe Kawa will present him. It's actually the guy who was first seed in the European Challenge, and also he lost against Frank at Lille.
Nice. I think I used to play against him in Pixelborn as well. Like I definitely recognize the username.
Yeah, probably.
Do we know if are players using the same decks in the top 4 as well?
Yeah, that's what I've been told because one of the reserves reached out to me and said that they were, I don't know if they were assigned my deck or if they chose my deck or whatever. But yeah, so yeah.
Wait, the reserves have to play the same decks as
No.
the. Oh.
I was talking about the finals. The reserves, they do have a stipulation. They have to have every ink has to be represented.
Yeah, it's
okay,
it's like
that
Team
makes more
Unified,
sense.
but I think so. Like Pavel had asked whether or not we should allow deck changes for top 4, and I think I was the only person that was in favor of it. Probably because I hated my list so much.
I'd be in favor for it too, just because I mean all of these decks that we've seen were like very early iterations. We've seen the meta develop. I think it would be like a 1,000 times more interesting to watch a top 4 of like actual like super refined lists than, no offense to all of our players, but I mean we had unoptimized lists because we didn't really we didn't know it was good and we were testing stuff. So
I feel like you tweeted
Yeah, I definitely
something.
side with Kawa, yeah, just because like I can't vote, I guess, because I'm not playing. But yeah, it's so true. And also, I guess for the spectators' experience, I mean, so many people they want to learn something from the best players who are presented here, and so that's why I guess they also want to see like the new decks, the updated ones.
I definitely agree with both of you, but I would like to call Kawa out a little bit. I feel like he tweeted that you don't change events once you've started. If you, you definitely had, you said that about something when we were discussing whether or not we could change something.
I mean, it's like grass is greener though. There's so there's genuine concerns and benefits to each.
Yeah.
If you allow for changing of deck lists, then like you're just adding sideboards to the game, which like this game doesn't have sideboards for a reason. So like I definitely understand the like contention around allowing individuals to change their decks, regardless of whether or not like if you were allowed to change it prior to pairing, you can make some pretty justified inferences based on like the standings, like based on how people did in the previous round of who you're going to play against, and it's just sideboarding at that point. And like I also understand that we're playing day one deck lists. Like let's be
Hmm.
frank. We had to submit deck lists the Saturday after the Friday of release. So like they're unoptimized. So for the viewership experience, it would be a lot better, and also for the players. Like I know I've been on 6 or 7 different iterations of Sapphire Steel since creating this deck list, and I would much rather showcase the newer lists that I'm on, uh, because it's a better viewer experience. It's a better experience for people that are looking for these high quality games. Like how often are Kawa and I gonna have the opportunity to sit across from each other and play a game?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like
I do.
two
I
very
do agree
very
with
good
that.
players from different regions.
That said, though, I'll give you some counterpoints to this. It's going to be difficult to ask people who are practicing for the EU Continentals and then here, if it lasted longer, the NA Continentals, to be constantly making new decks without accidentally sharing too much. And even, but I would also say that if they had agreed beforehand that it's like, okay, we play around and you can completely change your list from round one to round two. And then so like that way we have like a rotating meta and maybe like do play for a week, wait 2 weeks, play for a week or something like that. Give more time between the spreads if need be. There's a few things that could be changed, but I mean, we kind of did this with short notice and a way to like fill up the space between DLCs and championships. So hopefully the next time it happens, we'll be able to take into regard a lot of the things that people want to see. I think Pavel's been pretty good at adjusting things to make it the most beneficial for everyone involved.
Yep. No, I agree.
But
Yeah, Pavel just did an amazing job overall because the whole idea, I think it's just so cool because, like, I mean, what Kawa says that really resonates with me that, like, yeah, I can't say that it happens that often because if you're from Europe or if you are from the United States, you usually play with other players from your continent.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I mean, yeah, it's been awesome to be able to play against a lot of the NA folks. Like, be able to like, because we can always like interact, like, because for like the EU championships and stuff, like I had the opportunity to test like a little bit with Zan and stuff, and that was fun. But like, I really enjoyed this event, getting to just actually interact with people, play a few games with them, like known members within the community, because otherwise, it's not that easy. So, yeah, what Pavel's been able to do with this event has been absolutely amazing, and I can't thank him enough. I mean, ever since the game came out, he's just been doing
so
incredible things
much.
for it, and yeah, he's uh, a true asset to this community, and like we should all be incredibly thankful and grateful to him.
A
Oh,
thousand
I a hundred
percent
percent,
agree.
100% agree. Like I would not be where I am today if it were not for Pavel. Like I credit a lot of my success in this game to Pavel, like
I mean,
single handedly.
I think almost 90% of the top 5% of players, almost like 90% of the day two players for most of the DLCs probably could say the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
how many of us wouldn't have stayed in the game because of like a short, like product shortening and things like that, or being able to jam the game at any hours of the day? Like, it's
Yeah, and
amazing.
also there was nothing. Like there was nothing to do, and I actually stayed in Lorcana, like thanks to Pixelborn, yeah, and thanks to Bubbles tournament.
So let's all just send our spirit energy to Pavel and Ravensburger and hope they make their own digital client. It's everyone's Christmas wish, right? I'm sure they're tired of hearing it. Hopefully it's not one of
Yeah.
those things where they make a mark every time someone asks for it and make it take like later, like Half-Life 10 or 5, whatever Half-Life it is that everyone wants. But I think that's our show for the night. Any shout outs? I know RMB has some sort of socials.
Yeah, you guys all know who I am. I'm bald. Socials, places, things. Big shout out to Kawa. Really good sport. Enjoy the games. You got me. You got me
Yeah,
with the
man.
double. You got me
That-
with the double. The double sudden chills, man.
Yeah, my favorite part about our games was just how much whenever you saw Diablo, you were like, "Get rid of that bird. He's gone."
Yeah, yeah. I've probably been one of the loudest voices in the community. That's
Mhm.
I intentionally built my deck for this event with Diablo in mind. Like I brought, I think 11 or 12 answers to Diablo because like I just refused to lose to that card.
Mhm.
And there's what, 4 Diablos in all of the EU team? Maybe 8.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think
No,
I think your build
there's
there proved it though. Like as what we were saying, but at the end of game 3, there, it's like I looked at my opening hand, it was pretty strong, and you had every possible answer to like the strongest Diablo hand, which is like that's what you need against it. I think if you missed even one of those pieces, like it would have been different. If you didn't have the smash or you
Oh
didn't
yeah.
have the broom, even just having the fire the cannons was good, but having the other pieces to accompany it were like really good. But I guess that's kind of what you need against Diablo these days. But it's
Yeah, I needed all three because like
mhm,
there's a chance that you just like go Diablo and then on turn 2 you're like play Cove, shift Diablo, move to Cove, sing Bare Necessities, take your smash, and
mhm.
then like I need to have both the broom and the fire the cannons, and I have to like 2 for 2 you.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Hmm.
mean, we were watching you put your hand down, and I see 3-drop Diablo, Baby Diablo song. And I'm just like, oh no, oh no. And then you're like, some money cards, Cove. And I'm just like, oh no, oh no. And I'm like, this could be really bad. We look over at RMB's hand, and he's got a cannon and a smash and a broom. And I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
all right, all right. We got this. This is fine. This is fine. Like, my heart was skipping some beats there, looking at your starting hand. I was like, this is definitely a good open for Kawa if RMB does not play the cannon. And like we had discussed earlier in the other game, where it's like, well, does RMB cannon the baby Diablo or not? And it was like, well, probably doesn't. But then in this game, it was like, yeah, he needs to, because if he doesn't, the Cove blows him out.
Yeah, the difference is
On the
me
play,
being on the play as well. I think
yeah.
because it's huge. It's the exact line that you said, R&B, right? It's like if I've got the bare necessities or whatever, then it's
It's just
just too
game over at
much.
that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I'm on the play, maybe I don't fire the cannons the bird on one. I probably still do, just because
Hmm.
like I don't want him to get immediate value out of like the first draw off of it.
Hmm.
But like there's more consideration on the draw. Absolutely, 100% cutting off the shift line so that he can't establish a game-ending threat as well as take the removal piece out of my hand.
Yeah,
Some
I think
important
the
information
difficult
for our
thing about
viewers.
yeah, the difficult thing about that game 3 though as well is once I knew you had all those pieces was I do think I misplayed in terms of like so once you killed the 1-drop Diablo, obviously I had the 3-drop Diablo, I had another 3-drop Diablo, and I had an aerial, and unfortunately I drew into like a bit of a bad uninkable situation. But like trying to think about, okay, what's the best line to do? Okay, do I just played out a bird because I knew it was going to get sacrificed to a smash. Do I play the second bird after that? I played the aerial instead. So I think like all of that sequencing of like trying to figure out, okay, what cards am I playing? Because I know other options, right? I had to play cards. I had to play like a 3-drop. So knowing what cards I was going to play to then make you use your smash. Like maybe I should have just played the aerial instead of the Diablo. You kill the aerial, and then I'll just play a Diablo if you know answer to that. But then it's not like I was even thinking about small things like, okay, well, if you just have as soon as you get the 5 ink, as soon as you get the grab your swords, if I'm just playing a Diablo or whatever, it's like all these like little things are running through your mind, and it's like each pattern, each sequence is like it just differs so much depending on what you actually have in your hand, and then I mean, yeah, off the Hiram, you got like the you got the cannons and
Yeah,
you got the
grab and cannons.
the grab. So at that stage, I should. I mean, I might as well not even try it. But you know what I'm saying? Like the sequencing is really important there, and I think maybe if I thought about it a little bit longer, I could have had a better shot. And then I mean, ultimately inking the Hefflums and Woozles there instead of the You've Forgotten Me was like a terrible, terrible decision, knowing that you could play Hiram. But yeah, it's hard when like the uninks are there and stuff. So yeah.
Chat
Oh, good games. It
was
was fun. We had a
entertained
blast.
by your concession because they were like, "What game is this?" Because someone came in as you like scoop it all up, is probably assuming that like you're ready for the next game, but you're just like, "No, I got it. Like it's done. It's done."
Yeah, I don't want to be like a bad sport. I hope you didn't think that of me, R&B. It's just
No,
at that
I had
stage,
six.
like,
I had 6 cards in hand at that point. It's like if your initial like, I so you had the John, so I'm assuming that you had the You
mhm,
Have Forgotten Me, and like
mhm,
you needed John to live and the You Have Forgotten Me to go off to be able to
mhm.
refill your own hand. At that point, where I've got 6 cards in hand, you've got two. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
only to see
it's
you
gonna take a
forgotten me.
little
Like,
while.
what am I even gonna do? You know,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Like if you rip another uninkable, then you have to ink the You Have Forgotten Me, which like we noted too was pretty unlikely considering you were only playing 11 uninkables. So like congrats to you for having ink. Like, I
yeah.
need Fishbone Quills to have ink.
Yeah, it's actually one of the things I love about Amber Emerald though is that it's not too high on inks. You can't go above. Like I'll actually say to any viewers who are interested in like trying the list out again for set 6, I'll say it's not like anywhere near as powerful as it has been in the past from the meta, but something that uh we had a LD Lorcana Deckless on the podcast last night, and we were talking through his Amethyst Emerald build, and he was talking about the inclusion of Mother Knows Best. And I actually used to have Mother Knows Best within my Amber Emerald deck, and then I swapped it out to put in You're Welcome, which very similar to Hefflums and Woozles was like the only set 5 card I put into my deck just to try a set 5 card. But at the time, the Mother Knows Best was actually really good. I played that. I played that when I was in Toronto for the DLC, because if you combo like a Mother Knows Best on a like Sudden Shield, it kind of acts similarly to like a Bruno, even though it's 2 cards and stuff. But like you can do some cool stuff. But the big reason why I like Mother Knows Best a lot, especially now within the meta, is because Maui Shark is so prevalent. And if they're spending 6 ink just to play a Maui Shark and you're just gonna bounce it, like that's pretty good. They've basically just done nothing, and
Time
you're
walk.
gonna get you're gonna get pretty good value off of that. So, um, yeah, like it's Mother Knows Best is a cool card. It's like I think if you want to add in like more uninkable songs, it's fine because as long as there's still songs, you should be fishing them with aerial and stuff. But yeah, I think you probably want to be like sub 15 in the deck though at least. I mean, what's the
More
usual for like we've seen like Green Steel and stuff is like about 16 uninkables for
14.
the most part. Yeah, 14 to 16 is what I've kind of seen. 16 probably on the higher end.
I
But
feel like I played 17.
yeah, yeah.
I
You
always
Mhm.
you
go
needed
high
more
on
Heffalumps.
innings.
That card's insane.
Which card?
Heffalumps. I said you need more Heffalumps. That card's nuts.
Oh yeah, I played at my LCQ PM and I put 3 of them in, so it was pretty
Yeah, I like
good.
that.
Yeah.
You played this in an LCQ?
Yeah, so I played Green Steel in the morning, and it went like really well. But I mean, I lost my round 1 unfortunately. But both games it was actually just really unfortunate. It was 2-1 to my opponent, but I just lost to both of my opponents, just top decking a whole new world at the perfect time, 0 cards in hand. And it's just card games. It's
Yep,
just
yep.
variance. It's like one of the worst feelings in the game, but it happens. So,
It feels amazing when it's
I
you.
really wish it were. I really wish it was like rounds. I mean the LCQ because I also played mine and I lost round 3.
yeah, it's I don't know if you guys are actually. What I will say is I want to give a quick shout out. If you guys are really curious to hear like a very overall, perception of how the EU Championships went from LCQs to the main event to everything, probably in the next like 10 minutes I'll have like a 2 hour long episode talking about everything that happened. And I think honestly, if you guys are any North Americans about to attend the LCQs in NA, in my opinion, I think a lot of these problems won't happen to you guys because the PPG folks were actually over at the EU Championships. They were monitoring stuff, they were looking at stuff. So I think they're just going to learn from any things that went wrong and ensure that things go as smoothly as possible. And that was like really cool for me to see them, make the trip over, and shows me how much they actually care about their events. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that went wrong, but there were also a lot of things that went right. But typically, the internet and people, we just tend to focus on the negatives. But it's speaking about the negatives is always like offering critical feedback in terms of we just want this experience to be better. It's not just
Yep.
saying, "Oh, this was shit." It's talking about why it was bad, but working towards like a solution in the future.
Exactly. It's the right way you do it. Like, if you are constructive in it, then people
Hmm.
care. If you're just so negative and being like, oh, why'd I even go to this? It's like, no one wants to hear it. Like,
Hmm.
but if you're just like, so it's like one thing that I verbalized about Chicago, anyways. I was just like, the thing I don't like about this is the bathrooms are far away. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
know how much they could really fix that. It's like,
Hmm.
but I'll tell you this: every DLC I went after that, the bathroom situation was much better than Chicago. So who knows? Maybe it
Hmm.
was, but like
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
overall,
it's always
like
it's always all these small things that add up to be bigger issues in the long run, and just some things that like you said though, like if even a situation like that, the TOs and stuff they learn from it, and what Lorcana's been able to do in the first year of competitive play is absolutely phenomenal. Like we've had some amazing events, so many players attending, so many players playing the game, and I'm just like, if this was the first year, I cannot wait to see what next season's going to bring. It's going to be so cool.
oh yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, talking about bathrooms, it's a huge advantage, I guess, of being a girl in
Oh
Lorcana.
yeah.
Because it's like I think the first time I feel that the situation is reversed, that I never have to wait at all.
Yeah, usually it is always the other situation. That's something my fiance said as well. She was like, one of the best things about being a girl in TCGs is bathrooms are always free. Yeah.
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 it doesn't seem like that big of a bonus, but when you're waiting and you really gotta go, it can
It's
be
a
quite the
small one.
bonus.
Yeah, it's a small one.
It all adds up. Yeah. All right, guys. Listen, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for the game, RMB.
Of course,
And
brother.
thank you to the casters, the organizers. This was a really fun event to be part of, and I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody who voted for me and all the fans of the podcast and stuff. Like similar to what R&B said, I wouldn't be here doing this if it wasn't for you guys. So, it really means a lot. It's the reason why we do what we do every week, and why we play this game is like a huge part of it is I want to show off a lot of the things that I learned because I'm also learning. I think it's easy to forget. A lot of people will look at the content creators and top players and stuff. We're always still learning, just like you guys as we're playing this game. You know what I mean? Maybe I
Yep.
mean all I'll say is Moyen like learns at such a faster pace than me, but it's the beauty of card games is like we all get to pick it up at our own pace and stuff, and it's just been Lorcana's been such a fun opportunity, fun game, community. Like I said this yesterday. I've never played a game where I can perform like so badly at an event and feel like pretty bad within the moment, but then have probably one of the best weekends I've had all year. Like I just that can't happen with any other game in my opinion, right? Like it's flipped upside down. You go from having a bad moment and then the rest of the weekend is like one of the best weekends of my life. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
social aspect. Go for it.
Yeah, Lorcana community is just simply amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
For
the
sure.
the, the
All right,
social
guys.
aspect of these is amazing. Yeah, you have a great time. It was great watching and commentating your games. Hopefully, we'll chat with you again at some point soon.
Mm-hmm. All right. It's a pleasure, guys. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.
Hopefully, someone in chat will be able to link to the podcast he's doing. He said in a few moments, so I assume they already filmed it, or maybe at midnight right now he's about to go do that podcast live. I'm not a good enough person to know the schedule of their podcast. Do you follow that at all? No. Okay. R&B or Queen.
Yeah, I do watch their podcasts, but to be honest, I mostly watch the like past episodes, so probably it will go live.
Mm.
Yeah, probably. I don't know exactly because it's like 1 a.m. here, so I guess we'll watch it a bit later.
So
And
nice.
yeah, I also wanted to give a shout out to Phil, who was judging our game and who judges a lot of games in general of this tournament. So thank you, Phil. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if we've let Phil actually talk yet. Is there anything you want to shout out, Phil? Anything you want to talk about?
I'm just happy to be part of the community and happy to continue my judging career as helping the multiple, different communities I'm in, such as the ICL, the LCCC, and also my own stuff, the I Enchanted, which is a organization group that I run for organizing and finding Lorcana all over the Southern California region. Like we hook up with 70 different stores. We have over 100 different weekly events. So
That's awesome.
just fun stuff.
You should expand to Nebraska, please. I think
I can sell the
needs
code.
more
It's good.
events. Oh, maybe. All right. So I think that is about it. We'll also link Queen's YouTube page. You do mostly YouTube or mostly Instagram or both?
I do both, but I would say that like mostly Instagram if I need to choose between Instagram and YouTube. And yeah, I also have a Twitch channel. So my Twitch channel is kind of bilingual because place like on Twitch you can choose the language each time you
Oh,
stream.
nice.
So it's like French plus English. Sometimes I stream in French, sometimes I stream in English.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll get a bunch of links put into the chat for everyone. Thank you very much for watching. There's a slight time delay, but hopefully in about 10 minutes from now, we'll raid someone. So thank you everyone very much and have a great weekend.